So while we're moving up in the number that comes after Diablo, so what are your? I don't know if you ever got any hands-on play of it yet or anything like that. Have you? What are your opinions on like what you've heard, what you've seen, or whatever about Diablo 4?
So I haven't gotten any hands-on, no. But Diablo 4 is interesting. I actually did a video already on like some of the things I was surprised about Diablo 4 because I did listen to them during the talks and I have gone over whatever information they were giving us. I was surprised to find out that unique items are going to be back. I think that's cool.
I loved hearing that. Yeah, and that they were going to be super rare.
Like, I'm also very
the good ones, anyways.
I'm also he said it was what 1 to 2 per season or something like that.
That's what they said. Yeah, that the average person would find 1 to 2 like per season. So I don't know, maybe I don't know what they consider average person. You know, it's so hard to say. Is that 5 hours a week? Is that 10 hours a week? It's not going to be 20 hours a week or 30 hours a week. So,
but during the talk, the guy was so excited about it. He was so excited about unique items. You could tell, and he let it slip. He's like, you can build entire characters around them. And that's like Diablo 2 in a nutshell, right? I mean, you can pick up a unique item. You can be like, all right, I'm gonna give me a Earth Shifter, like a Thunder Maul. Mm-hmm. Like I'm gonna build a druid around this Earth Shifter Thunder Maul, and you can totally make a whole character around the unique item, right? So like the idea of being able to build a character around those unique items is really cool to me. That's Diablo 2. Like that's not something that you could do in Diablo 3.
I wonder how much build the character around. Like, is it going to be as much as like you build a wolf barb around the wolf howl, or is it going to be as much?
That's what I'm hoping for.
That would be pretty. Maybe not necessarily taking another character's skill onto it, but yeah, like you get something specifically from that if you literally didn't have that item, you literally couldn't make that build. So yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Another couple things that they did that they were talking about was like the potion system. Like I don't know if you've researched the potion system at all.
It's like a cooldown system instead of finding them or something, right?
It's like an interesting. It's like an interesting combination of like Diablo 2 and Diablo 3. Like
it kind of reminded me. Did you play Diablo Immortal at all?
A little bit.
I played it for like a week. It kind of reminded me of that. But you'd find like those heart globes that would fall off the monsters when you'd fight them, and it would recharge your potion thing. I think, to me, anyways, unless I'm misremembering, it sounded exactly like Diablo Immortal, to be honest.
The other things about Diablo 4 that really stuck out to me that I really kind of liked, because I know there's always going to be people who are going to talk bad about the game. I haven't even played the game yet, and there's nobody's played the game yet except for the beta testers.
Yeah,
so
and plus YouTube, you get way more clicks being negative than positive. So,
but the dark atmosphere, I definitely love. Like just looking at the game, seeing some of the gameplay that they've come out with. Yeah, I mean, it strikes me much more like Diablo 1 than Diablo 3. And I think that's a really big negative a lot of people had about Diablo 3 was the terrible freaking just art style. Like
right.
It looked like WoW, like it was like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, bright colors, pinks, purples, bright blues.
Just not Diablo. Like, it's just not the right art style. The skill tree. So like the developers made it really clear, like in that talks, that they were trying to mimic the skill tree of Diablo 2, not Diablo 3. And I think arguably like Diablo 2 has pretty much the best skill tree like out of any game I've played. And I really like that fact that they're kind of like trying to go with the customizability that Diablo 2 has. It's definitely a lot better than Diablo 3 system, which I don't even know what the hell they were going for there. The trading thing, like I keep getting contradictory information on the trading thing. Apparently, like some sources are telling me that there's limited trading. So like you'll be able to trade rare items, and some like maybe like the legendary aspect item tokens, but not like the legendary items. And then like some people are telling me that you can't trade the legendary aspect tokens. Some people are telling me you can't trade anything. But the information that I've gotten so far seems to point toward being able to trade rare items, which according to the developers will be the most valued items in the game. So like how the system works, according to what I've been able to find out, is that you can take a legendary item and say it has some aspect on it that you really want. You then destroy this item, you pull the aspect off, and you turn it into a little like token or whatever. And then you need to find a rare item that has like the best modifiers, kind of like the same way we do with rune words. And once you find that perfect base, then you take that aspect and you put it into the rare item, turning it into a legendary item. So supposedly you'll be able to trade these godlike rares, back and forth between people, and people are going to be hunting for these because they have like the perfect stats on them, which smacks very much so of Diablo 2, looking for that like perfect F 15% thresher, or whatever it is that you're looking for your mercenary, or your 15% archon plate.
Yeah.
And I like that. If we can trade at least some stuff like that, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I had heard that you could trade the aspects too, but yeah, like you had said, depending on, I feel like everybody hasn't watched all of the different developer streams and stuff like that, because I think it was maybe the latest one that, and plus they're like an hour long. It's kind of like we chatted a little bit before stream that when you got an hour or 2 hour long video, sometimes people just don't want to watch something that long. But I believe in there, yeah, they said that you could definitely trade a chunk of stuff. I don't remember how high it went, because there's 3 different tiers of rares or something. There's like normal rare, legendary rare. There was different tiers of rares. I don't know where the cutoff was that you could trade, but I do remember them saying that you could trade the aspects, unless, and this is, sometimes it's trusting my memory. I like looking things up all the time, but since there's so much contradictory information, like you said, it's tough to look up right now. But I'm almost positive I remember them saying you could trade aspects, but you couldn't trade the highest tier of stuff, like the best items, whatever it was at the top.
Well, and it's not even just like, can you trade the aspects? It's or even if we can trust that the information is accurate, it's still in alpha, it's still in beta, right?
True.
So we could get absolutely 100% accurate information today, and then maybe like 2 or 3 months from now they change their mind and swap it a different way, and then we're wrong. But until they finally finalize what they want to do, I'm always a person that leans more toward free trade than not. I feel like it makes the game into more of a single player game when you can't trade. Like there's a certain amount of excitement there, like when you find something really cool that might be not for you. So like, maybe you're playing an Amazon, for instance, on your, on Diablo 2, you're playing an Amazon and your friend's playing a barbarian, and you're killing a monster, and he drops, like some really awesome 2-handed weapon, right? And your friend is a 2-handed barbarian, and so you get excited and you want to give it to him, you want to trade it to him. There's a certain like aspect online of just, interactivity and having fun, helping out your friends, and maybe your friend helps you out, and when you kill trading, you kill all of that. Like all of that friendship and camaraderie and like holding on to items for your friends just disappears. And I don't like that. Like when Diablo 3, even when I was playing online with other people, it felt like I was playing solo. Like I'd literally be playing with my brother, and then he would log off, and like he'd be playing a necromancer, and some really awesome necromancer item would drop, and then I would be like, I would go to text him and be like, hey, I found that item you're looking for, and then I would realize he wasn't online when it dropped, so I couldn't give it to him.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Diablo 4. Also, with what they say, it was going to be like 80% like smart loot. So you probably aren't going to be finding a lot of things to help other people out anyways, right? It's going to be stuff for your character. So
well, hopefully it's better than Diablo 3.
It's got to be better than Diablo 3. Come on.
Well, Diablo 3 smart loot system was awful. Like, and I think they've improved it a little bit since, but like it used to be so bad that you would find like a sorceress item or a wizard item. My bad. You would find like a wizard item, and literally it would have strength on it because you're a paladin or you're a crusader when you found it. So the items would be customized to you so specifically that it was just silly. Like this item is literally a wizard only item that you can't put on, and they've got like the stats on it for your character. And the smart loot.
I can't imagine they would have that in Diablo 4.
Well, apparently they've fixed it a little bit, and maybe the smart loot system actually is smarter than it was in Diablo 3, but it was pretty dumb in Diablo. They should have called it dumb loot because it was really dumb. And I'm hoping that it's definitely seen some leaps and bounds of improvement if that's the case. I think Riker, I was watching his video on Diablo 4, and he did say that it felt like there was some smart loot in the game, but he said it also seemed like there were items that were dropping that were not for his character. So he wasn't sure whether it was all smart loot or whether it was like a percentage of smart loot, like maybe certain items dropped and they would be customized to you, but then other items would be not.
Gotcha.
He
Yeah.
said he couldn't quite figure it out whether it was like 100% or not.
I think, and obviously, like you said, anything could change. Maybe this was mentioned a while ago, and who knows what happened. Like for some reason, I feel like I heard it, like the devs said roughly like 80-20, but I could be wrong there. So that's kind of what I remember head hearing, but we'll see. They'll probably have some more of those dev talks coming up here, and maybe they'll shed some more light on some more of that kind of stuff.
But like you as a single player, because I know you do primarily single player stuff.
Yeah.
Like smart loot is honestly kind of like a detriment for single player characters.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Because you be playing along maybe on your sorceress or your paladin or whatever, and something drops. Like you don't care whether or not it's for your character. Like you're looking at the broader spectrum. You're like, oh man, I finally got the Shaco. I can put it on my Hammerden or whatever.
Right.
You know, like you don't necessarily care what falls on the ground so much as long as it's something that you can use for one of your characters. If you're using a
paladin and you find that Griffin's finally.
but imagine you're playing your character, one of your many characters, and everything that's dropping is only for that character. So to find anything for another character, you're going to have to go to those other characters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of unfortunate because like on barbarians and stuff like that, you really need a good weapon, like as a melee character to be able to do anything. So you end up in these really silly situations where you can't farm gear for other characters.
Yeah, so with the stuff you've seen from Diablo 4, in my personal opinion, I think it looks pretty good. It's impossible to say before you get your hands on it and it's a finished product. I think it looks pretty good. I don't think it's going to fully, like, quote unquote, win me over. It's not going to make me go like, man, I'm never touching D2 again. This is way better than Diablo 2. Way better. No. That's
Diablo 2 is always going to be.
Yeah,
Diablo 2 is always going to be a place. It's always going to have a place in our hearts, right? Yeah, it's never going to get replaced.
Based upon what you've seen so far, and what do you think? With obviously it's a limited knowledge base and things could change. Where do you think Diablo 4 is going to fall? You think it's going to be really good game? You think it's going to be D3?
So I'm optimistic. Like from what I've seen so far, I'm seeing good signs. They're moving in the direction of Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, and they're realizing the mistakes of Diablo 3, and they're going away from the Diablo 3 mentality. There's still aspects of Diablo 3 in there, and I think a lot of people like me will cringe whenever they see the Diablo 3 stuff. They're like, oh man, that looks like Diablo 3. I don't like it. But I think they've strayed enough away from Diablo 3 that it's got some promise. But I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at the MMO style aspect of the game. It's not a single player game. It's and a lot of people have expressed that as a negative, is that like there's no single player option. You've got to play online. Mm-hmm. But it's more than that. Like it's not just you have to play online. This is an MMO. You're playing with millions of other people, whether you want to or not. Similar to like World of Warcraft. If I don't know, if people have tried to play World of Warcraft as a single player game, they go in and they just don't talk to anybody. They just play the game and they just have fun and they level up their characters. They never participate in any of the group activities, unless they're like forced to. And a lot of people I think are going to get thrown for a loop with the whole like this is a constantly online like MMO experience as opposed to the normal Diablo experience. Mm-hmm. Although Diablo 2, in defense of the MMO experience, Diablo 2 definitely does have sort of an MMO experience going. It's not really an MMO, but it is online. It is a massive multiplayer game. It does have a lot in similarity with an MMO, even though it's technically not.
Yeah. One interesting thing that they mentioned, the devs, speaking of like the MMO aspect of it, playing with everybody else, I think it was the latest one, they mentioned that you would kind of be doing a lot of the quests like by yourself. So there's obviously like the world events and stuff like that, but they kind of specifically mentioned that a lot of the quests and stuff you'd kind of be going off and doing by yourself, which I thought was interesting for an online game with a ton of people,
Sounds like instanced. So in the MMO world, they do a lot of instancing, which which is where like you'll go to a zone and then the zone will be like created just for you and nobody else will be in that zone. Instance stuff is a little strange because nobody else can help you or participate with you like in those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and obviously what they were talking about, I guess in those conversations you never know 100% unless they talk about that one particular topic they're talking about for 2 hours. You don't have all the information, but yeah, I know that they mentioned that. I don't know necessarily what fully an aspect they were talking about, but